Thank you. So, you having a good time? How about those DC Cowboys? Did you enjoy that? Good opening act? Yeah, obviously we've stepped it up in a whole bunch of different ways. Those of you who've been with us before at the Mayflower Hotel when we were limited to 700 folks, obviously this is a step up with over 1,200 people in the room today. So please give yourselves a round of applause. I do not want my remarks to slow you down, of course, from filling these cards out. So we will not consider it rude if you're borrowing a pen to make sure that your pledge cards are filled out. And if you need anything, just raise your hand and we'll be around to help. I've had, by the way, a lot of comments about my creamsicle suit. And I know how persnickety some of you are, but it is the first day of spring. So, for those of you worried about whether cream and magenta should be worn until the first day of spring, we checked it out. Spring doesn't start until the 7 o'clock hour tonight, but we're on track. Always a little ahead of our time. We are obviously happy to be celebrating 20 years with you today. It's pretty amazing that 20 years ago, somebody had the idea, and you've gotten to learn who, but that we had the greatest weapon, that we had the silver bullet for our equality. It was right here within us, within our own community. So the journey began, the Victory Fund journey to change the face and voice of America's politics, of achieving policy gains like marriage, civil unions, safe schools legislation, and so much more, all by preparing members of our own community. What our founders knew was that people transcend issues. People can go ahead and fight on many fronts. And because of many of you, we have been able to execute that vision for the past 20 years. And while I've been honored to do it for the past 8 years, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for our previous executive directors. And I'd like to take a special moment to recognize our first executive director, William Wayburn, and my immediate predecessor, Brian Bond, who now works in the White House, who are both with us today. If they would please stand. Brian, William, thank you both. I know them each well enough to know that they weren't allowed to have a warning of that because they would have refused to do it, so thank you for being good sports and letting us surprise you. The execution of the Victory Fund mission means investing in our own community, spending our dollars on our own leaders, and then helping them win the power and influence to make real and lasting change. A great thing about this opportunity to look back over 20 years is that we get to see it works. When we decide to make change ourselves, rather than waiting some more for others to tell us it's our turn, we see change happen much faster. Success from our people, our community, our own leaders. You know, I remember learning in school what makes a good news lead. It was the idea that who, what, where, when, why, and sometimes how. Many of you probably remember that. Well, as the years have gone on, it's become quite evident why who is first. It's because who is the most important equation, the most important ingredient in how we make change. The who comes first because people matter most. They transcend the issues, and they get to fight on many fronts at one time. The out officials that we work so hard to help elect and appoint serve on the front lines in changing policy and politics. They are the who in our movement. People like Sherry Harris, David Cicilline, Tammy Baldwin, people like Evan Lowe as mayor of Campbell, California, and Jim Gray, the new mayor of Lexington, Kentucky, who joined Anise Parker as the mayor of Houston, Texas. Or how about Nikki Antonio, the first out legislator in the state of Ohio, who joins nearly 100 other out legislators across the country. These are just some of our examples. And when we talk about the future of the country, we recognize the ever-changing face and voice of the United States. So we also celebrate John Perez as the Speaker of the California Assembly, an out gay Latino. And how about Rhode Island having an out African American leading their state house? These are just some of the examples of the who that have helped us grow from 50 to over 500 LGBT officials in just 5 four-year cycles. But we're obviously not done. Those who would keep us as second-class citizens still plan to spend millions to keep us down. How do we respond? What's up for the next 20 years? Well, that's the important part of this. That's why you see Chris Armstrong tonight. Because talking about the future and planning for the hope means that we have to continue to prepare people to win. We're going to make sure they know how to win. We'll make sure they're ready when the bigots come out from under their rocks and continue to spread fear and division among our country. And we'll prepare strong candidates with the tools to outwit the nitwits. We will continue to fight for a place at the table by endorsing the best candidates we can find. We won't just elect out candidates, we will elect outstanding ones. And when we've prepared and endorsed the outstanding candidates, we will continue to win everywhere. We will win elections throughout the country. We'll win them in red states and blue states. We'll win them in big towns and small cities. We'll win them on the coasts and everywhere in between. We'll win policy debates here in Washington, Maryland, Rhode Island, New York, Illinois, Hawaii, and we'll show America that the extremists are liars and con artists. That the Newt Gingriches and Maggie Gallaghers, the so-called family groups and the know-nothing talking heads are full of hot air. They're all liars and con artists. Because what America will see will be a far different community than the moronic stereotypes peddled by those who deal in hatred and division. They will see us for who we are, proud Americans, people who are truly passionate about liberty. Unlike many of the charlatans out there who believe they've cornered the market on patriotism, we are going to be the who in this fight for equality. Our out LGBT officials are going to write the history of our movement. They will write the history of our community's success because this community has more heart, more courage, more endurance, more love and passion, more determination, more guts, and frankly, more honesty than that loud minority of Americans who say that they only hate the sin, but take every chance to punch us as a sinner. They say they love us, and they take us down in the next breath. I couldn't be prouder of the brave men and women that we support each year. I'm honored to lead the organization that you have built into a powerhouse in this fight for freedom and fairness. If you stand with us If you will honor this mission, if you will honor the ideal that people come first and that the who in the fight is the most important thing we can invest in, I promise you, we'll end this fight that Maggie Gallagher and her kind will wish they had never started. Each year we get to come together for this brunch and other events that we have throughout the year. And it is such a humbling experience to be here and to represent a great team of people and a great staff. A great board of directors, great members of the Victory Campaign Board, and a lot of fun people and very smart people that I get to work with. So, on behalf of all of us, thank you. Thank you for standing with us. We could not do this without you. So if that wasn't enough of a hint, if you haven't yet filled out your pledge card, we can't do this without you, and we appreciate your support. Now, we'll transition into our final act of the program, and if you will help me welcome a Victory endorsee who has been a tremendous fighter for our community. She's a shining light, a sparkling personality. She was first elected to the Oregon House of Representatives and later won election to the Oregon Senate in 1996, and in 2004, she became the first woman elected to the post of Senate Majority Leader, and in 2008, was elected as one of our first statewide officials anywhere. Please welcome Kate Brown, the Oregon Secretary of State.